ശാസ്ത്രത്തിന് ലിംഗവ്യത്യാസമില്ല. ഡോക്ടർ ടെസ്സി തോമസ്. ശാസ്ത്രത്തിന് സ്ത്രീയോ പുരുഷനോ എന്ന ലിംഗവ്യത്യാസമില്ല. ഡോക്ടർ APJ അബ്ദുൽ കലാമിൻ്റെ വാക്കുകളിലൂടെ പറഞ്ഞാൽ, പഠനമെന്നത് സർഗാത്മകമായ ഒരു പ്രവൃത്തിയാണ്. ഈ സർഗാത്മകത നിങ്ങളെ ചിന്തയിലേക്കും, ചിന്ത നിങ്ങളെ കൂടുതൽ അറിവിലേക്കും നയിക്കും. അറിവുള്ള ആളാണെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾ ഒരു വലിയ മനുഷ്യനാണ്. എൻ്റെ സഹപ്രവർത്തകരെ എല്ലാം ഞാൻ സയൻറ്റിസ്റ്റ് എന്ന് വിളിക്കുന്നു. അവിടെ സ്ത്രീയോ പുരുഷനോ ഇല്ല. ഞങ്ങൾ ശാസ്ത്രജ്ഞർ ഒരുമിച്ച് ജോലി ചെയ്യുന്നു, ആശയങ്ങൾ പങ്കുവയ്ക്കുന്നു. ഉയർന്ന പദവിയിലുള്ളവർ, താഴ്ന്ന പദവിയിലുള്ളവർ എന്ന വ്യത്യാസവും അവിടെയില്ല. അങ്ങനെ പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങൾ മുന്നോട്ട് പോകുന്നു. നൂറുൽ ഇസ്ലാം സർവകലാശാലയും നിംസ് മെഡിസിറ്റിയും സംയുക്തമായി ഏർപ്പെടുത്തിയ APJ അവാർഡ് 2022 സ്വീകരിച്ചുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഡോക്ടർ ടെസ്സി തോമസ് കുട്ടികൾക്ക് മുന്നിൽ തൻ്റെ മനസ്സ് തുറന്നത്. മീറ്റ് ദി മിസൈൽ ജീനിയസ് എന്ന ടോക്ക് ഷോയിൽ ഡോക്ടർ ടെസ്സി തോമസ് വിദ്യാർത്ഥികളുമായി സംവദിച്ചതിൻ്റെ പൂർണ്ണരൂപം കാണുക.
My name is Kirtana C. Nayar. I am coming from Manna Memorial Residential Higher Secondary School. My question is, India is investing a lot of money in financial crisis, and what is the importance of Indian missile projects to protect or to attack?
Yeah. As you mentioned that we are spending money and financial crisis. As a country, to be secure, we need to have certain systems which are capable of protecting our country. So irrespective of the money, unless otherwise our country is secure, or strength respects strength. So we need to spend certain amount of money that judiciously our government takes the decision at what level we should spend for the defense. So it's part of the these missile developments are part of the Ministry of Defense expenditure. Okay.
We call upon Diya Devi from St. Chrysostom EM Girls HSS Nellimudu.
Good afternoon, ma'am. First of all, congratulations for your achievement. My question for you is, in such a male-dominating field, how exciting is it to work with them, holding a position superior to them?
It's very easy because I have done it, I have shown the way, and there's no difference. Like I always say, science has no gender. The knowledge what you have, knowledge what you learn out of, Dr. Kalam always says, learning gives creativity. Creativity takes you to thinking. Thinking leads you to provides more knowledge. And if you are knowledgeable, then you are great. So that is the way we need to acquire knowledge. I call all my colleagues are scientists, and there's no women or man there. It's we scientists, we work together, we share our knowledge. So there is nothing called superior and junior. Scientists do work together. Then solely it happens. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next I call upon SS Sweta from Fatima Public School.
Good afternoon, ma'am. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for your APJ Award 2022. And ma'am, you're a really big inspiration for all of us, and it's a big honor to be speaking to you. And ma'am, our question is, how can we use robotics and satellite technology for replacing human soldiers to reduce collateral damage and also for manhunting?
Yeah, you have robotics. Then what was the second one?
And, robotics and satellite technology.
Okay. It's like sit down. Robotics helps us in automating the things. Okay. So instead of sending human for any soldiers, maybe the future will be robotic soldiers, smart soldiers. That means robotic itself can do that function. Then about space technology, it has a vast applications. You know that today we are sitting here and talking, it is telecast or broadcast all across the country through satellite communications, which is again through the space vehicle being delivered. So it can gather information all across the globe. So that capability is, will tell you that, and that space we don't, space department we don't use it for defense application. Defense has a separate purpose. So, like if you say that war collateral damages and all, we are now looking into pinpoint accuracy systems where like drones, unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, it goes and exact location it can go and hit. So without doing much damage to the area, it can be done. It's purpose-wise. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I call upon Anugraha RS from Government High Secondary School, Anavur.
Good afternoon,
Good
ma'am.
afternoon.
ഞാൻ അനുഗ്രഹ ആനാവൂർ ഗവൺമെൻറ് ഹയർ സെക്കൻഡറി സ്കൂളിലെ ജൂനിയർ SPC കേഡറ്റാണ്. ഞാൻ മലയാളത്തിൽ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ചോദിച്ചോട്ടെ?
Yeah.
എന്നെ പോലെ ഒരു സാധാരണ പെൺകുട്ടിക്ക് ആഗ്രഹിക്കാൻ കഴിയുന്നതിനേക്കാൾ അപ്പുറത്ത് അങ്ങ് എത്തിക്കഴിഞ്ഞു. പരിധിയും പരിമിതികളേക്കാൾ അപ്പുറത്ത് ജീവിതത്തിൽ നേരിടുന്ന വെല്ലുവിളികളെ തരണം ചെയ്യാൻ അങ്ങ് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന മാന്ത്രിക വിദ്യ എന്ത്?
Yeah, it's really, എനിക്ക് ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ പറയാൻ പറ്റുമോ? അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കറക്റ്റ് വേർഡ്സ് വരികയല്ല. It's up to one's own thought process. How difficult is the challenge, what is in front of you? Okay? So, again, if you are learning at par and having the knowledge, whatever challenge comes, we can take it, we can face it. Yes, you have to have an inner strength to circum this type of challenges. That's what. The confidence, we call it as confidence. So if you are a confident person, you can achieve, you can learn more, you can give more results to the outside.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I call upon Mithun DP from New HSS Nellimodu.
Hello ma'am, good evening.
Yeah.
I'm Mithun, I'm from New Higher Secondary School, Nellimodu. So my question is, as we all know, 2 years back, India has made a revolutionary and much awaited reform, that introduction of private sector to the space. So my question is this more gonna make collaborative competition in the space field and accelerates the journey of India in the space and making India a superior and giving India a superior position in the space powers? Or is it gonna backfire with a strong momentum, like by the clashing of culture, then security threats, then security of citizens? The clashing of culture, I meant from the beginning onwards, ISRO is more or less tilted towards nations' resource development or nations' resource aspirations like telecommunication, navigation, then education, and mostly on launching vehicles. But as we are a businessman, we should have to look on the business side too, right? So ISRO should have to focus on the public, public good, but the private sectors, all the private companies should focus on their good too, or for their profit too. So when it comes to the space sector, when the private companies enter this field, there will be a problem in quality assurance or security threats, or maybe some other problems. So my question is, in your opinion, is this going to be a good or bad for our country?
Okay, the businessman whom you mentioned is also Indian national, no?
Yes.
So India is our country. All Indians work for our country, first of all. So whether the ISRO part of space activities, even if it has been given to the private and the startups, young engineers, young talents, the innovative knowledge, that will club along with our space technology what is already been developed. So that a mix of, if you see the Western world, most of the defense industries, defense associated industries only, mostly the government agencies takes up the core part of very much core for the security point of view, what you said. That will be handled by the government, and rest of the things, the whole participation of the country when we privatize will get the opportunity to work for the space. It's again another engineering work or a technical innovative work which any Indians can take up.
Okay, ma'am,
Okay.
thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. For next question, let me invite Alfia Fatima SS from Government Girls Higher Secondary School, Neyatankara.
Ma'am, from one of your article in the Hindu newspaper, we got to know that to data exchanging and cloud computing, the industry 4.0 is going to be the revolution in our industry sector. Ma'am, can you please say that is artificial intelligence is going to be a part of industry 4.0?
Yeah, the industry 4.0 basically talks about the automation and digitization. So it enhances our capability to do the work fast. Like for example, manufacturing field, 3D printing, you would have heard about 3D printing. We used to make missiles or aerospace vehicles, one session, getting it, casting, machining and all activity, it used to be taking months time. Today with artificial additive manufacturing, the 3D printing, that same section can be done in maybe in a day. So months long or years long activities will get reduced to that. So that's the level of enhancement in all our machinery and the equipments what we have with respect to industry 4.0. And artificial intelligence gives very intensive algorithms and approach for making it more intelligent. The algorithms can have predictive, corrective, maintenance mode, all can be planned for those type of activities.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I call upon Nandana S, NSS EMHS, Danuvachapuram.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon.
My question is, in our Earth, the tides is because of the gravitation force of moon. The sun also has gravitation force. But why don't the gravitation force of sun is not a reason for this?
It all depends on how effective is the gravity. Like moon's gravity is, it depends how far away it is from our system, the central body, and the distance at which it is there. Otherwise it is, every object, every planet has its own gravity. How effective is with respect to where we are, that's what matters.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, Muhammad Fayaz S from SMV Government Model Higher Secondary School, Trivandrum.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Do you feel more optimistic about women in science field?
What did you ask?
Do you feel more optimistic about women in science field?
What do you mean by optimistic? Means whether it is good or yes? Is that? No, that's what I said. Scientific field is open to anybody. If you can learn science better than the woman who is beside you, you are one step ahead. If the woman beside you learns more than you, the woman leads. So it's like that.
Thank you, ma'am.
So learn and get the science on you.
Thank you. Next, Harikesh R, Sri Vivekananda Memorial Public School, Aralamudu.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Very few Indians has created their names in space research, which is a virtual reality rather than we can experience. How can we encourage our youngsters to be part of this space research?
Yeah. Now, actually, in our country, we started the development of space or the aerospace, the missiles, all this field very late in 1970s. So the knowledge around us to know about, probably when you people are all in the school level, you started hearing about ISRO and VSSC and DRDO and missiles and all those technologies, satellites getting launched. So we get to see and learn from that. way back when we were going to school, I was not knowing what is missile. Like in a physics book somewhere, a projectile, the trajectory, a stone is thrown and it follows a projectile. That type of a knowledge only was there. When I went to engineering only, I started knowing about the stuff. So today is a world of knowledge all around us. Tap the knowledge, learn. You can be space scientists, you can be astronauts, you can be artificial intelligence expert, anything, any field you take, knowledge is around you. Learn.
Next, I call upon Advika K. Krishna, PPM Higher Secondary, Karakonam.
Namaste, ma'am.
Namaste.
I'm Advika K. Krishna. My question is that atom is actually associated with atom bomb destruction. So please enlighten us on the brighter side of nuclear energy, how it is used for development and creation.
You're asking about nuclear energy?
Yes.
Or missile?
Nuclear energy.
Okay. No, nuclear energy, it's not for destruction. That is one application. Today, if we have power generation is highly requires the nuclear energy. So that high magnitude of high power energy is possible only through this nuclear reactors and in medical field. If you know the medical field, lot of nuclear requirement comes for scanning, X-ray, all places the part of that comes into this, the elements, particles of that are used for medical applications. So world is how we use the potential of nuclear components for that. One factor is that we need nuclear capable systems for sustaining our defense powers requirements. So we have a portion of that done for those technologies as some warhead or something where when that's power, as I mentioned, strength respects strength. If you have such capable systems, we are secure. That's the way.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, Alu Krishna, Sarvodaya Central Vidyalayam, Nalanchira.
Good afternoon, ma'am. It's a matter of personal experience. Ma'am, I have heard usually people telling like, if we want better education, we have to fly out from Kerala. Like to better universities outside Kerala. But being learned and being a student of Kerala, like you have done your studies, including your graduation in Kerala. So have you faced any challenges during your journey to reach in a position where India recognizes you as missile woman? Have you?
I think it's, first of all, it's a wrong concept that Kerala is the best place to learn. Actually, education point of view, within our country, it's highly capable state which is nurturing young talents. And I did my engineering BTech from Trichur Engineering, Government Engineering College, Trichur. And I am really proud of learning there. See, whatever we learn, that becomes our base. Okay, while learning, we feel that so much of reading and all, but that knowledge is what it makes us as engineer. While doing engineering also, we learn 10% of the engineering. But when you go into a field where you start working, the practical knowledge, the more knowledge, and being a scientist, we keep on reading, so the knowledge enhances. So it's not that we have to go abroad only or other places to learn more. Today, everywhere, you can learn. That's the way. Okay.
Gopika SB, New Jyoti Central School, Vattavila.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, you were the former project director of Agni 4 missile. So what were the challenges that you faced being a woman while holding that program?
Yeah, I was project director. I was not a women project director. I was a scientist. So there's absolutely no problem. that's the way it takes. Yes, we need to learn the technical knowledge. You have to have a techno-managerial capability to be a project leader, like project director. Both technology as well as how you manage the people around. There will be different opinions, technical arguments. So you have to enhance your own knowledge with respect to your seniors also. Technically, if you want to argue, so that way you have to be knowledgeable and manage them the way all managers does. Techno-managerial capability, you can be there as project leaders.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, Shama Manoj from Carmel Girls Higher Secondary School, Trivandrum.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, my question is, what is the scope of augmented reality in the field of aeronautical engineering?
What is the scope of? Yeah, mask.
Augmented reality in the field of aeronautical engineering.
Yeah, augmented reality. See, augmented reality, virtual reality, these are all techniques which will enable us to simulate or emulate the activities. Like in our missile field also, we go through simulation. Like otherwise, every mission we have to launch the missile, the hardware, and then get the result out of it. So first you will do the modeling and then have the simulation done. In ground itself, we will be doing like hardware in loop simulation. Similar concept has come with respect to the virtual reality and all. You will have the model, engineering model, and with the tools available, you will create a virtual situation what is equivalent to the reality. Like for example, the fighter aircrafts and all. The model, the structure is done, and each level of wiring or connectivity inside, where to put the units or electronics units, aviation, avionics, those packaging, placement of it, the structural aspects, all can be done through this virtual or augmented reality, and then have a feel of it that the spaces what we provided are okay, connectivity okay, all can be simulated. That's the tool or the technology available as on today.
For the next, I call upon Ashar B. Das, LMS Higher Secondary School, Amaravilla.
Good afternoon, ma'am. As you have said that the missiles are not the weapons of destruction, they are the weapons of peace. But as we all know that the missiles are developing for a destruction of a particular aim or target, how could be the missiles can be the weapons of peace?
Yeah. I'll answer this in Dr. Kalam's words. He says in Agni missile, you can keep instead of the warhead place or at some few kgs, 400, 300 or whatever, that much kg of flowers can be sent from here to another place.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, Fatima CM from St. Mary's HSS Pattam.
Good afternoon, ma'am. വളരെ അഭിമാനകരമായ ഒരു നാമത്തിലാണ് മാം അറിയപ്പെടുന്നത്, മിസൈൽ വുമൻ ഓഫ് ഇന്ത്യ. അപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ടൈറ്റിൽ അറിയപ്പെടാൻ സാധിച്ചതിനെ മാം എങ്ങനെ നോക്കിക്കാണുന്നു?
സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. And this name also like with lot of affection people have named it, and since I was the one who could be the project director for Agni 4 and Agni 5, the mission part I was taking care. So lot of almost 33 years I worked for this missile, and people have seen it that churning day and night with the missiles. So this name maybe has come from some of our people.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, Gogul H, Government Higher Secondary School, Balramapura.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
The nearest habitable exoplanet from our Earth is Proxima Centauri b, and it is around 4.2 light years away from us. Is it possible for us to reach there using our current technologies, and how, since our Earth is facing a threat?
Repeat the question.
The nearest habitable exoplanet from our Earth is Proxima Centauri b, and it is around 4.2 light years away from us.
Yeah.
Is it possible for us to reach there using our current technologies, and how?
Yes, we started exploring to Moon, Mars, and other planets. Even Sun is also thought across Jupiter. So the ISRO is planning their planetary explorations to reach maybe advanced technology is required to land. We have to know how safe is that planet for launching to it. So these things are going to be on experiment, or they'll learn about it and maybe future. If you look at the Western world, NASA and all, they already started exploring all the planets around us. Our Indian program, I do not know deep into the up to what level we are planning.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, Avantika A from Sri Vidyadhiraja Vidyanilayam, HSS Neyatankara.
Is it safe to put forth the first manned mission Gaganyaan by 2023? And what is the current status of Vyomitra?
Man mission, the human space mission, sit down. They are planning, ISRO is planning, and ISRO people is better to answer this question, but I'll say that it's all our Indian Space Agency effort to put human in space. So they're on the progress stages of propulsions are getting developed. Like I can say, DRDO participates for the recovery of the space module. After it is detached, the space module will have the space station orbiting and then coming back to re-enter back to the Earth. We are, one of the DRDO lab at Agra is working on the parachute release at different altitudes to reduce the speed, because while it is re-entering back, it has very high velocity. That velocities are reduced by the parachute deployment at different levels, so that by the time they are coming to a altitude of drop into the sea or anywhere we are getting the system done. So that's the way to decelerate and bring to a safe velocity. So that plus all other part of the program is on, and human, how it will affect the human from the biological point of view, all those food capsules what they have to carry to keep themselves active and energized, all work is going on. That side of the work is also done by DRDO. So it will be the first of its kind human space mission from our country. We all look forward, along with you people, we all look forward for such a mission happening. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, Nivedita SS from St. Teresa's Convent GHSS, Neyatankara.
Ma'am, how can a student pursue a career in the field of space research? Could you give the necessary guidance?
Could you need?
Can you please repeat the question?
How can a student pursue a career in the field of space research? Could you kindly give the necessary guidance?
Okay. No, it's a basic engineering degree. They ask with any branch of engineering can go into space. Thus, based on your GATE score, and the candidates are selected for this course. You have to have an aptitude to learn on the maths, physics, chemistry, science part of it. And basically look for the engineering, and then entrance tests are there for even for DRDO or for the ISRO. So that's it. And ISRO has started an institute, Indian Institute of Space Technology. So they beyond after the pre-degree itself, they are selecting it for that course. So they get absorbed and gets into space. It's only your interest in learning the subjects. That's way.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, Vidhu Narayan from Dr. GR Public School, Neyatankara.
Jai Hind, ma'am.
Yeah.
It was stated that efforts are made to reduce the detectable signatures of Agni-4, missiles like Agni-4, ballistic missile. So that is trying to make them immune to anti-ballistic missile systems. So how can a missile be made immune to anti-ballistic missile systems even while retaining their efficacy?
Even while retaining their
Efficacy.
Yeah, its efficacy has nothing. Efficient systems are efficient. When we say reducing the signature, we go through materials of stealth materials like composite covering. The payload portion is composite, which can withstand high temperature, or new elements of stealth is also there, so that it's not visible to the radar systems what looks at it. Then what was the end question? What he said? Yeah, efficacy part is immaterial. It's what the size in which. Actually, it's the speed in which what it travels, the kinetic speed at which the missiles are traveling. An anti-ballistic missile also should have that type of a capability. So the moment they sense this, the incoming also, they also have to, the other side also has to launch such systems to hit. Unless otherwise you are in the terminal phases, we have terminal guidance provided which others won't even know. So you can maneuver the re-entry part when it is entering, re-entering. So such onboard algorithms do exist and change the path.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, Adityan C. from Government Model Boys HSS, Taikad.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
So my question is, what are the future projects of DRDO?
Oh, DRDO, if I tell, I have to talk about 52 labs, what we are doing. But major requirements from the aerospace, I'll tell, missiles of many applications we have already achieved. If something more is a requirement from the user side, like Army, Navy and Air Force, if they say, we will work on that. Otherwise, in aerospace is some more research and development is required. So we work on the fighter aircrafts, the advanced medium compact fighter aircrafts. They are with the pilots. So to avoid the pilots at risk, we started developing the unmanned aerial vehicles, which can also now, initially the purpose was for surveillance and reconnaissance, seeing the areas of our interest or national security. We can even, they are like aircraft size, future ones. So you can even weaponize it as an unmanned aircrafts. So that is future. Then on the artificial intelligence and the newer areas of science, cognitive computing, quantum computing, these are all areas which are having a lot of technologies getting developed, smart sensors, nanotechnology. So DRDO also works parallelly along with the new generations are coming with a lot of knowledge and innovative ideas. We are also moving into highly technically competent areas of these fields. So that's all.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, Pooja L. Sahat from Government HSS School, Cotton Hill, Vadakadu.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, there's a say that failure is a stepping stone of success. So do you ever face a failure which acts as a stepping stone to become the missile women of India?
Yeah, actually, even in fact, the governor was today morning mentioning about that. We had Agni 3. It's from Agni 1 and 2. When we moved to Agni 3, the size of the motor, propellant motor diameter, from 1 meter dia to 2 meter dia, it's double the size. But when we launched that system, Agni 3, when it crossed up to some 70 seconds of flight, absolutely following the trajectory path, there is no deviations, perfect, every systems are showing healthy. Suddenly from 70 seconds, the missile started drifting away or started losing the control. and mission had to, it fallen short of the trajectory within that 70 seconds. So we had to come back and see the post-flight analysis. At a look, we can't find out any reasons, because all systems, when you look at the health parameters, we monitor more than 400 to 500 parameters of the missile which is flying. But we couldn't find, we struggled to see each and every parameters, temperature. Then, when we looked at the temperature profiles of the base road, sometimes sudden temperature increase is seen. So, how we analyzed and got into that problems, that it has shown that one of the, 1 meter diameter, 2 meter, when it flies in the atmosphere, in the higher altitude, maybe above 15 kilometer onwards, the, the plume from the nozzle expands, because the air around, the free stream air is, there is a difference, and the flow expands and folds back. So the hot air started recirculating back into the missile nozzle area, that inleted. So it had lot of studies to know that we learned, even though we launched it and only 70 seconds, we call it partial success, because the technology, what it was happening when it is flying, it's a dynamic condition depending on the altitude, what flow interactions happen with the missile plume, the nozzle plume, and the free stream, what is the atmospheric air is there, the mixing of that, and what type of flow pattern can come. That is a learning curve. And we all, at that point of time, there was no computing systems. We had only PC based systems which cannot take the load of CFD analysis, computational fluid dynamics, to know the pattern of the flow. At that point of time, that knowledge was not there, that capability, infrastructure capability was not there. Then we, all the experts looked through it and then created that facility and seen that when we simulated, yes, this flow interactions happens and it can lead to failures. So thereafter, we had a flexible cover so that the reverse flow doesn't enter back into a very small, 20-25 mm gap provided. It entered through that, and one of the wire would have got melted, control wire. So it's like that. It's learning that, then thereafter, no missiles have failed. So I can call it as a stepping stone towards success, if we learn. Again, Dr. Kalam used to say, fail is first attempt in learning. Fail. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, Effin Francis from St. Mary's HSS, Kamugin Code.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
My question is, after US, Russia, Israel, our Indian missiles stand at the 4th position in the world. And Agni-5 is supposed to be the best and powerful missile made in India. So what are the improvements made in different levels of missile missions?
No, this is not like our country is not looking for any competition with respect to what we have. Technology wise, yes, we have come 4th or 3rd. Now, some other technology we may stand at first also. So it's up to us. We all work for the requirement from the armed forces, Army, Navy and Air Force, and as well as the national security requirement point of view. So this, what we need, whatever is asked by the government, we work for it. And technologies we have knowledgeable, yes, Indians have good knowledge, capability and innovative power. So that makes the system. See, we started the missile technology after 1970s and 80s. But world across has established classes of systems in 1970s itself. They were launching missiles from 1960 onwards. So we started the game after 20-30 years after that. But still we are now at par with them. Many technologies, yes, That's our government initiative also. If you see the present government, the Prime Minister of India, a great vision for the youngsters to come and take up newer and newer technology areas. That's why our education, national education policy also getting changed, so that in college itself, thus the subjects what we studied in electrical, power electronics and transistor tube, I don't think none of you people are interested in knowing. It's obsolete. So the newer technologies have come. That's the way the enhancements happens. Knowledge is changing, so that way it will change. I have used computer systems where I have to do programming and to get a result, punching card. So today I don't think you people will not be able to, it must be a museum item. So that is the way it is. Today you have everything in your hand, mobiles or palm top systems. That's the way it goes, the computational powers.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, Pooja Krishna, Sri Chitra Tirunal Residential Center School, Kunnathugal.
A very good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
So our generation is known as the mass generation. So what do you expect from the youth of today? What discoveries, further
Yeah.
do you think the youngsters of today can make?
Yeah, youngsters have the real innovative power. So the knowledge what you have, you are more knowledgeable than me. I have learned very little by reading books, but you are all the fortunate ones who could learn from childhood itself, hear about things which is so advanced. So your thought process itself works faster than all of us. So that itself can create and you can see that younger generation multitasking. While eating, you will be able to see the mobiles also. So whereas we have never done that and we don't do it also. So that's the multitasking, talent capabilities comes when we attempt to learn more and more. So you people can do wonders.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, Amandeep from Government High School, Marayamuttam.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
My question is, new generation children are getting ample opportunities to express their capabilities. Could you suggest an advice to utilize these opportunities?
Yeah, actually when as a student, first of all we should give good attention to learn. Learning makes you a different person. Your knowledge stands out. You become internally confident of what you are doing. So if you are willing to learn, everything will line up for you. You want to be a doctor, you can be a doctor. You want to be an engineer, you can be focus on what you want to learn, what is your interest, and give your 100% to learn as a student, I am saying. Then once you get the opportunity in the field areas, wherever you are working, you build up on that. And today, as I said, knowledge and the technology is all around. And if you have the support system to enhance your capability, you are there as a leading technologist. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Ashwati SS from Victory HSS, Nemam.
The missile man of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's dream was to make India a developed nation by the year of 2020. Being the missile woman of India, what's your vision about future?
Yeah, I want India. You wanted India to be a developed country, development of the country. I want India to be on the top of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. For the last question, I call upon Vaishnavi S. Nair from Arya Central School.
The observations of the James Webb Telescope, which made headlines recently, explains the formation of universes. My question to you is that does it give any specifications of the Big Bang Theory or the formation of earlier universes?
No, question is, once again you repeat.
The observations of the James Webb
Observatory,
telescope.
yeah.
It explains the formation of universes, right? My question is, does it give any specifications about the Big Bang theory or the formation of earlier universes?
No, it's again through the observatory, the telescope, what we have designed to see that or learn about it. Big Bang theory is again the origin of the history behind in the planet formations or the whole universe formations. It's again a knowledge where we are, humans are trying to capture and learn more about it. So it's time that we are getting the technologies and enhancement facilities to know more about the universe. That's a way.
So for the final question, let me invite Govin from Government HSS Neyatankara.
It's a great pleasure talking to you, ma'am. So, according to Einstein's general theory of relativity proposed in 1915, space-time bends around matter. When an object passes through this curvature of space-time, it gets attracted and starts to orbit the body by virtue of its curvature. But how does this orbiting object gets enough energy to orbit the body over and over again if it was only a curvature of space-time? And how does this mechanism is utilized to orbit satellites and probes, etc.?
Now, how we are say missiles or the rockets, it all depends on the velocity with which it is traveling. Like something called escape velocity of 11.2 kilometer per second. So then we enter into the orbital escape velocity, orbiter velocity. So it revolves in that orbit. Like that for a satellite launch and all we do like this. You are mentioning about, I couldn't get your end question, what exactly? So you need to have an energy more than the energy of relativity. When you say two things are moving parallel or one of them is having a higher velocity, that will take the relative speed in which it will travel. So it's again object to object, when it depends on the relative speed with which it is, speed and the direction in which it is traveling. Could I answer your question or something more is there?
I want to know, how does this object orbits the body over and over again without even giving a additional energy or propulsion?
No, it's there. It's not that we are not adding energy while it is orbiting. It's not losing the energy mostly because of its, there is no other forces like gravity or the pull or the disturbing forces are not there. Whereas the same object cannot revolve in your atmospheric phase. When it goes in the space, it enters into the orbital velocity, and we have reactive thrusters which is given at some point, like reaction control thrusters are there. They are fired at either at the perigee and apogee. Apogee is the top higher point. Perigee is the lowest point with respect to the Earth while it is orbiting. So we fire, in case we have lost that velocity to maintain in that orbit, we fire this reaction control systems, small thrusters, very minute, 1 kilonewton, to whatever level we can, to 10 kilonewton. So such different thrusters are there, requirement based on what is the loss in velocity that is fired. Whereas satellites, even for satellites also there is reaction wheels, which also gets accelerated or decelerated based on the requirements. Some amount of loss, very minute, maybe after orbiting for a few years, it starts losing the orbit. It all depends, depending on the life of the satellites which is orbiting, we either maybe 5 years, 10 years, afterwards the electronic components itself will not work on it. So it decelerates and it takes its own time in one orbit to other orbit, and it will come into the innermost atmosphere and then falls. But here the gravity pull is there, disturbance torque becomes more than its revolving torque. So that's how it comes.
Thank you, ma'am.
See, I think it was one of the most, എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു നമ്മുടെ ഇന്നത്തെ ഫംഗ്ഷൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും നല്ല കൾമിനേഷൻ ആയിരുന്നു ഇത്രയും ബ്രൈറ്റ് ഐസ്, എത്രമാത്രം പെയേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് ബ്രൈറ്റ് ഐസ് ഗ്ലിറ്ററിങ് അത് ഇവിടെ നമുക്ക് കാണാമായിരുന്നു. എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു മാഡം പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ നമ്മുടെ ഇന്ത്യയുടെ ഫ്യൂച്ചർ ഇസ് റിയലി ബ്രൈറ്റ് ബിക്കോസ് അത്രയും ബ്രൈറ്റ് കുട്ടികളാണ് മുമ്പ് ഇരിക്കുന്നത്. സോ നോ ഡൗട്ട് അബൌട്ട് ദാറ്റ്. ഒരു കാര്യം കൂടെ പറയാനുള്ളത്, നമ്മുടെ ഇൻവിറ്റേഷൻ അനുസരിച്ച് ഇവിടെ എത്തിയ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഒരു ഗുഡ് അപ്ലാസ്. അതിൻ്റെ കൂട്ടത്തിൽ തന്നെ മാഡത്തിൻ്റെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അറിയാമായിരിക്കും, യു ക്യാൻ ജസ്റ്റ് ഇമാജിൻ എന്തുമാത്രം ബിസി ആയിരിക്കും മാഡം എന്നുള്ളത്. അപ്പം മാഡം ഇന്ന് 6 മണിക്ക് മാഡത്തിൻ്റെ ഫ്ലൈറ്റാണ്, നാളെ മാഡത്തിനൊരു മീറ്റിംഗ് ഉള്ളതാണ്. 4 മണിക്ക് പോകേണ്ട അതിനെ മാഡം 6 മണിക്കാക്കിയ ഒരേ ഒരു റീസൺ കുട്ടികളെ അഭിസംബോധന ചെയ്യണം എന്നുള്ള ഒറ്റ കാരണം കൊണ്ടാണ്. മാത്രമല്ല മാഡം ഇന്ന് കാറിൽ എൻ്റെ കൂടെ വരുമ്പോൾ എൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് ചോദിച്ചു, ആരാ ഹൂ ഈസ് ഗോയിങ് ടു ബി ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ചോദിക്കാൻ വരുന്ന ആരാ, ഹൂ ഈസ് ഗോയിങ് ടു ഷോട്ട് മീ എന്നാണ് ചോദിച്ചത്. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു മാം എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് എന്നല്ല സ്കൂൾ സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് ആണെന്നാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഷീ ടോൾഡ് മീ അതാണ് ഏറ്റവും വലിയ ഷൂട്ടേഴ്സ് ബിക്കോസ് കോളേജ് സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് ഐ ക്യാൻ വെരി ഈസിലി മാനേജ്, വെരി ടഫ് ടു മാനേജ് ഇൻ സ്കൂൾ ചിൽഡ്രൻ. അത് യു ഹവ് ഓൾ പ്രൂവ്ഡ് ഇൻ യുവർ ഓൺ വേ. സോ താങ്ക് യു വെരി മച്ച് ഓൺ ബിഹാഫ് ഓഫ് നിംസ് മെഡിസിറ്റി. വി എക്സ്റ്റെൻഡ് എ വെരി വാം താങ്ക്സ് ടു ഓൾ ദ സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് ഹു ഹവ് കം ആൻഡ് ഓൾസോ ദ സ്കൂൾ മാനേജ്മെൻറ്റ്. മാഡത്തിന് പോകുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് മാഡം നിങ്ങളുടെ എല്ലാവർക്കും വേണ്ടി നിങ്ങൾക്കൊരു മെസ്സേജ് മാഡം തരുന്നതായിരിക്കും. വേണമായിരിക്കുമല്ലോ? വേണ്ടേ മാഡത്തിൻ്റെ ഒരു മെസ്സേജ്? യെസ്, മാഡം നിങ്ങളുടെ അടുത്തൊരു മെസ്സേജ് തരുന്നതായിരിക്കും.
Thank you, Dr. Saju. And what he said is a fact. So I was telling, school children, it's really tough to face their questions. So whatever it is, I enjoyed being with you all. Means I also learned from you all. Just one message to all of you is, this is the time for you to learn. And school, whatever we learn in school, we may not be understanding to the 100%, but that makes you a different person. Be alert to what you are learning, and that from there onwards you should inculcate a habit to learn more and more. So that's how we can change our country. And as I said, we have to see, as per our dream and vision of our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, who visions that India should be on top of the world. So you are the young generations who has to make this happen, and I am sure you are all will rise to the occasion in learning and more knowledgeable. As I am 100% sure you are all more knowledgeable than me. The last question what I got from him, he started asking me to orbit. So that is the way you all are knowledgeable. Learn more and more, and then get to the on top of the world. Thank you.
Eye to Eye News, an eye for truth. ഐ ടു ഐ ന്യൂസ് സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ലാത്തവർ ഇപ്പോൾ തന്നെ സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യുക. നോട്ടിഫിക്കേഷൻ ലഭിക്കുവാൻ ബെൽ ബട്ടണും അമർത്തുക.